Okay, so I suggest that we begin with the answers to our quiz, because today is a culture day, and it hurts me still even saying that you will not be seeing the culture of Volgograd this year with your own eyes. But I hope you have been following your teammates and the other teams' Instagram accounts, because it has been a wonderful journey, which is still continuing. So how about we check the quiz? Here was the first question. Which building has this woman with a globe and a peace staff? Well, the hint about Peace Street and Gagarin Street was a key to solving this question, because naturally Gagarin is the first man in space. So we were talking about Volgograd Planetarium, obviously, which was, just to say, a gift to Stalingrad from the German factory workers. They made this equipment inside, which was a state-of-art condition for their time. And Volgograd architects designed the building to hold it. Question 2. What was the building in which the Stalingrad movie supposedly took place? And this is the question where many of you got the wrong result, because even in Volgograd it's a common mistake. The correct answer is Pavlov's house, which is seen on picture A. Whereas picture C, like many of you answered, was the old mill. Even now, people in Volgograd point at this mill and say, well, it's the Pavlov's house. But the whole point is that the house was nearly completely restored, with just a fragment of a decorative wall remaining. And that was a house in which, like in the film exactly, a group of soldiers defended the observation point against the Nazi troops for the period of 58 days. With civilians remaining in the house's basement all that time. Well, question 3. I have to start by saying that while A, C, and B are clearly the writers themselves, picture D is not Agnia Barto, is a character of one of her poems. She was a writer for children. Here the correct answer is C. Alexander Pushkin, one of the greatest poets in Russia of all times. He came here to write a historical novel, an account of the peasant rebellion in the 18th century. The rebellion was led by Yemelyan Pugachev, who features prominently in Pushkin's novel called The Captain's Daughter, which is a romanticized account of those events. Well, Tsaritsyn has a long history of not surrendering to anyone who wants to take it. Tsaritsyn, nothing but a wooden fortress at that time, was the first city that did not surrender to Pugachev, which led to the rebellion's defeat. Question 4, that was kind of a tricky one, because if you come to think of it, Golodny Island is in the most famous natural reserve of our region. Sarpinsky Island is the biggest island in our region. But according to our logic, the trick was that Ludnikov's Island is actually not an island at all. It is a memorial complex named after Ivan Ludnikov, who during the Battle of Stalingrad defended a village next to a very important, strategically meaningful factory for 30 days. This place was called an island because Ludnikov's division was surrounded by 3 sides by the enemy and had the Volga River behind them, so they were completely isolated. Question 5. Well, I took close shots of decorations and decorations only, hoping that they will remind you, in some of the pictures, about a merchant's daughter who drowned in a river. The correct answer to this was Cossack Theater. But ironically, this is some Dan Brown stuff, I believe. The person who gifted this building to a boarding school for girls had 2 completely alive and healthy daughters by the time it was finished. However, the seashells, the old bearded man resembling Poseidon, well, I believe I understand why this building is thought to have such a tragic history? Question 6. Again, a tricky one because, to be honest, none of the persons in photographs even remotely resemble Jude Law. But if you did some Googling, you can tell that it was Vasily Zaitsev. The film itself is called Enemy at the Gates, based on a book of the same name, and dedicated to how a battle of Stalingrad became a platform for a deadly duel between a Soviet and a Nazi sniper. And Jude Law plays the Soviet sniper, the legendary one, whose rifle, even now, is kept in the museum panorama Stalingrad battle. Question 7. Well, it would be fun if some of you actually lived in these streets. Because the city that is not commemorated in Volgograd's map is D, the city of Cleveland. Whereas Coventry Street and Port Said Street can be found in the Central District, and Ostrovskaya in the Krasnoarmeyski. The legend goes that it has only, even numbers on it, like 4, 2, 8. If you go to Krasnoarmeyski, please check it. Question 8. Well, in Volgograd now, it is a surprise to many that the famous dancing bridge, the correct answer, actually has a real name, but it's called Volgograd Bridge. In 2009, it became the first land road over the Volga River. Before that, everybody would have to take a fare or go over the water power station. So it's called Dancing Bridge because, according to a viral video, it started swaying in the wind. The witnesses claim that it was a horrifying sight, but even now nobody knows for sure whether this video was real or fake. But now it's one of the most famous sites in Volgograd. Question 9. This was for the fans of the Supernatural TV series. The correct answer was ironically not D, but C, the Old Sarepta Museum. A team of paranormal investigators claimed that they established a contact with a ghost who was responsible for ruined photo shots and for the exponents changing their places. This friendly ghost called himself Johann and complained that in his afterlife what he missed most was beer. And after the museum guides started leaving for him a jug of beer and a piece of bread on a regular basis, paranormal activity stopped. Question C. Well, here you, as you might have guessed, you didn't guess the city, you guessed the food. And many of you might have recognized A, Cutlet a la Kiev. The newspaper on the left says that it was advertised in the United States as a taste of Russia as long ago as in 1946. Some people say that it was invented in a Moscow restaurant called Kiev. The others claim that Ukrainian immigrants who attended American restaurants demanded this particular dish to be served to them every time. Well, in Volgograd, it's immensely popular, even in summer. Question 11. Well, I guess the difficulty with this question was that the correct answer, picture B, didn't actually show a streetcar, but you can see a ticket collector. This streetcar was an electric one, and Tsaritsyn is a relatively small provincial town, did not exactly merit it because electric car meant electricity station required for it. Some people say that merchants decided to pay for this electric station out of their own money, and the others say that the engineer who planned this electric line was particular about willing to work only in Tsaritsyn. Question 12. Well, this was a funny one for the Russian participants because really, which building can host the Stalingrad battle panoramic picture but number A that has the word Stalingrad battle on it? Yes, this round tower is where you can find the largest hand-drawn painting in Russia. It measures 16 by 120 meters. It was done by 5 painters who were themselves fought during the Second World War. Question 13. Of course, those of you who live in Volgograd and have been to the central embankment recognized picture B, the bomb. One of the most tragic days of the Battle of Stalingrad was August 23 in 1942, when our city was carpet-bombed by the Nazi aviation. This bombing lasted for a week after that and left over 40,000 people dead. The memorial resembles a bomb over the civilian population. The other memorials can be found in Voronezh, in Moscow, and in a town to where children from St. Petersburg, from Leningrad, were evacuated during the war. Now let us continue. Question 14. Yes, question 14. This construction was a dream of the Turkish Sultan and the Russian Emperor. Funny would be, of course, to say that they dreamt about water power station because in the 17th and in the 18th century, that's what they needed for an electric streetcar, of course. But the correct answer is that it was the Volga-Don Canal connecting the two great rivers. The legend goes that the Turks did not succeed in building it, left swearing profusely, and then, almost a century after that, the Russians were distracted by a war with Sweden. The canal was only completed in 1952. Now it is famous for having the largest Lenin statue next to it. And the final question. The answer to it is clear if you come close enough to each of these tank towers. And it is that all those tanks mark the areas where the Nazi army managed to come closest to the Volga River during the Battle of Stalingrad. This memorial is dedicated to the soldiers and civilians who protected our city at the cost of their lives. Here are the results. You can see that we decided to keep to our word and give a special appreciation to those who submitted their answer the first. Since we had 5 teams, we decided that the first team to give us their answers will get 2.5 points extra. The second one, 2 points. The third one, 1 point plus a half. And we can see that this quiz was absolutely dominated by the team called Piece of Peace. When we will be sending out certificates for the conference, members of Piece of Peace will get a special small souvenir dedicated to Volgograd. Thank you, all of you, immensely for taking part in this quiz. We hope that you enjoyed it. So applause to everyone who took part and who worked hard on all 15 questions. Thank you. Now the tour of Volgograd is over, and I suggest that we continue with what you prepared today. Since we're celebrating our culture, this day is dedicated to the culture of your cities. So will anyone volunteer to be the first?
Then I will volunteer.
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's Hayata from
Let me
Hiroshima.
share. Okay, let us begin our introduction of Japanese culture. This is the flow of our presentation. First, I will talk about these two pictures. This is Japanese art performance. The name is Kagura. Ancient Japanese people used to dance to console and worship for God. Nowadays, we enjoy Kagura as an art performance. It is very beautiful and cool. Kagura is played with beautiful colors, beautiful clothes, tools, and music. Typically, each Kagura performance has a theme or a story. There are many kinds of Kagura. So if you're interested in, please check it out.
Next, I'll introduce Rakugo, which is one of the traditional Japanese arts. Rakugo is a comic storytelling art that has been entertaining the Japanese for over 400 years and is still widely popular in Japan today. The storyteller is called Rakugoka. Rakugoka creates the humorous side of traditional Japan, playing any number of characters such as samurai, geisha, merchant, burglar, child, or drunkard. Wearing kimono and sitting on a small cushion using only two small props, a Japanese fan, sensu, and a hantao, tenugi. These days, Rakugo can be enjoyed in a variety of languages. Please check it out on YouTube.
I'm going to talk about judo. Judo is known as traditional Japanese sport, and it's really famous all over the world. It's also known as an Olympic event. In Japan, most of all schools have judo club and have judo class. So most schools have judojo, which is training hall of judo. If you come to Japan, you should try judo.
I like to talk about Japanese coming of age ceremony. It is called Seijinshiki in Japan. It is a Japanese ceremony to celebrate those who turned or will turn 20 years old. The second Monday in January is a national holiday known as Coming of Age Day. On this day, each area in Japan welcomes the new adult with a ceremony. In addition, you have a chance to meet some friends you haven't seen for a long time. The girls prepare a kimono known as furisode for their ceremony. The special feature of furisode are the long sleeves. Furisode give the most glamorous impression out of all kimono types. Wearing furisode at a coming-of-age ceremony symbolizes a fresh start in your life. The patterns and colors of each furisode have different meanings, symbolizing prayers and wishes. It is common for boys to wear a suit for their ceremony. Some boys will wear a hakama. That is all from me. Thank you.
Now I'm gonna talk about Japanese summer festival. Festivals are held in the summer in Japan, and there are many stalls. At the stalls, you can play games and eat food. Many fireworks festivals are also held. Most people go to these events wearing a traditional Japanese costume, which is called yukata.
Next, let me talk about traditional Japanese clothing. I'll start from the left. The man is wearing a jinbe. Jinbe is a kimono that is usually worn by men and women. Currently, it is worn at fairs and firework displays. The next man is wearing a hakama. A hakama is like trousers and clothes and is worn from the top to the bottom of the kimono. The deeply parted horse riding hakama is worn in martial arts such as kendo and archery. The middle girl is wearing a kimono. Today, it is common to wear a kimono at ceremonial occasions, such as weddings and coming-of-age ceremonies. The next girl is wearing a hakama. The lantern hakama, which is mainly worn by women, is shaped like a long skirt. You can see many female students wearing them in graduation ceremonies in universities. The last girl is wearing a yukata. Yukata is a thin kimono worn in the summer. Currently, a yukata is worn for things like firework displays and summer festivals. Next slide, please.
We have a big festival called Flower Festival, held on 3rd to 5th of May every year in Hiroshima City. At the opening ceremony, the Tower of Flower Torch will be lit, then the festival starts. There will be a parade at Peace Boulevard, performances on lots of stages, and stands on the side of the boulevard. Next slide, please. Also, train decorated with flowers runs in Hiroshima City during the festival. The theme of the festival each year will be made about 40,000 flower pots on the lawn in front of the cenotaph for the atomic bomb victims. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., candles at the approach to the cenotaph will be lit up. People are allowed to see them from the second floor of Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum.
Lastly, I will talk about the Japanese seasonal foods. For the first picture, it is called Ichigo Daifuku or strawberry mochi. This seasonal treat are fresh strawberries coated in a sweet red bean paste and then a chewy mochi outside. For the second picture, it is called unagi or grilled fresh eel. It is popular during the summer months due to properties thought to increase stamina and heat tolerance. For the third picture, it is called oden. It is a dish of various ingredients that is very good for digestion. Oden is also eaten during winter. For the last picture, it is called nabe, which means hot pot in Japanese. This is a classic winter food in Japan where ingredients like meat, fish, and vegetables are boiled together. I will be ending this with, what are the 4 seasons called in Japanese? We say haru or spring, natsu or summer, aki or autumn, and fuyu or winter. That is all from us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I recognize some of those pictures from your Instagrams. It was splendid. Now, may I offer following city to be Muntinlupa? Would you be ready?
Hi, I hope everyone is having a great day. So I'm Agent Pirinopa. I'm from the Muntinlupa Youth Advocate for Peace, and together we will be presenting the culture of Muntinlupa City. Welcome to the Philippines. Have a look around. We will be your tour guide for today as we conquer and discover the culture of Muntinlupa City. This will be the content for our presentation. The New Bilibid Prison, historical sites, the Nagsa Festival, Valse de Muntinlupa, fishing industry, and the Museo ng Muntinlupa. First, we are at the New Bilibid Prison. New Bilibid Prison is the biggest jail in the whole Philippines that is located in our city. Main insular penitentiary designed to house the prison population of the Philippines. Next slide. So the New Bilibid Prison, then known as the Cárcel C Presidio Correccional, occupied a rectangular piece of land that was part of the Halik Estate in the heart of Manila City. The old prison was established by the Spanish colonial government on June 25, 1865 by a royal decree. Due to increasing crime of the Philippines, the Commonwealth government enacted Commonwealth Act number 67 and a new prison was built in Muntinlupa City on 254 hectares of land in an area considered at the time to be remote. So we also have different historical sites that is being really famous in the Muntinlupa City. Memorial Hill. The Memorial Hill was the burial place of the Major Heriberto B. Misa Sr., which served as the tribute to the former Bureau of Prison Director to his 12 years of service, making him the longest serving prison director up to this time. Here in our city, we value the service of our people. Japanese Cemetery. This is the burial place of imprisoned Japanese soldiers during the war and were executed. Legend has it the General Tomoyuki Yamashita tagged as the Tiger of Malaya, was buried in the same place. Jamboree Lake, and it is the smallest lake of the Philippines. Upon the transfer of the beloved prison to Muntinlupa, prison inmates from the Cordilleras developed the land surrounding the lake into terraces, which once served as a food production unit for the official and inmates of the new beloved prison. And next is the director's quarter. The director's quarter served as the official residence of the director of the Bureau of Prisons. The structure boasts as a well-preserved pre-war architecture that characterized its outstanding office. And to our next tour, we will be going to the Dinagsa Festival. Anteris, go ahead.
Hi everyone. As you can see in these pictures, this is the Dinagsa Festival in Santo Niño, Muntinlupa City. The feast day of the Santo Niño de Muntinlupa is celebrated every Sunday before Ash Wednesday. The Dinagsa Festival is celebrated in his honor, Santo Niño, or called as the Holy Child. There were street dancing and musical bands all over the area to give the festive mood for his fiesta in the morning and the solemn procession that takes place in the evening. And aligned with this, Muntinlupa also has the traditional folk dance called Balsa de Muntinlupa that reflects the daily life of the indigenous people of Muntinlupa from farming and fishing until it is a thriving city.
Before the city of Muntinlupa has been recognized as one of the highly urbanized cities in the Philippines, it has first started with its fishing industry. Muntinlupa's fishing industry is a major part of the city's economy. Laguna de Bay is the largest lake in the Philippines, in which it is surrounded by cities including Muntinlupa. Considering the geographical location of the city, the locals have been utilizing this for their livelihood. Muntinlupa already harvested tons and made its livelihood excellent because of the rapid aquaculture development in the area. Next. And to preserve and to present the rich culture and history of the city of Muntinlupa, Museo na Muntinlupa was constructed. The 5-story city museum infuses history, interactivity, and communal spaces, in which its architecture was based on the salakab, a traditional fishing trap made from weaved bamboo sticks and fastened by rattan rope, often used by fishers working in the Laguna de Bay. It is as a tribute to Muntinlupa's fishing industry, which is a major part of the city's economy. The museum hosts a main gallery, a mayor's hall, an interactive science center, and a theater with 200 people seating capacity. It features exhibits featuring the city's history from the pre-colonial era until the modern period. It also features works of the city's contemporary artists as well as temporary exhibitions. Next.
Hi there. Now for the last part of this presentation, me and my fellow representatives sang a song. Not only people in our city love to sing, but Filipinos in general love to sing as their hobby, even when there are no special events. So me and my fellow representatives sang a modern song here in the Philippines entitled Bagani, as you can see on the screen, which was part of the quincentennial commemoration of the Philippines, and it is mainly anchored on the Filipino people's victory and humanity. Now, Pagani is an indigenous term that refers to the peacekeeping force of tribal warriors who have defended their community and their land and protect the people's lives as well as their properties. This song reminds us to not engage in wars, but to inspire people to be always of service to the community and the country in any way possible. And it gives us the opportunity to look at the brighter side and reflect on turning fears and doubts to hopes and healing. 30 years, there had been a lot of unseen heroes whom have sacrificed their lives to honor the Philippines. We also have a lot of emerging modern heroes whom we would like to give credit to as well, such as our medical frontliners, especially in this time of pandemic, whom have really devoted their time to keep the Filipino people safe. And also our athletes that have represented their country in the recent Tokyo Olympics. And with all that, we have decided that this will best represent us not only as a community, but as a country as well. And people who aspire to be of service to the world, which just like how it is described in this song Bagani, which refers to Bagong Bayani, or in English, it's modern heroes. So I'll let one of my supervisors to one of my advisors to play the video, and hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.
Ibarin ang takot sa iyong damdamin, ipamalas ang angking galing.
Tumayong mong tapang harapin ng buhay, yakapin ang tagumpay.
Tulungan ang kapwa't bigyang halaga, wag hatakin ng pababa. Isipin wag sana ang sarili lang, pakisama't bayanihan.
Subukan nating isulong at ligawan ang
magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo, salubungin ang kinabukasan.
That's all for us. Thank you.
Sorry, did you really sing it yourself? Because it's incredible. Thank you greatly. And I want to say that also there is a whole collection of wonderful videos now being put on our YouTube channel, the parts dedicated to this conference, because Hiroshima youth recorded a wonderful video visiting part of their city. Then the Volgograd Gymnasium sang songs, dance, and even poems read aloud. And please, if you can you please send me this video too, so that I can, yes, upload it to this channel as well. Thank you greatly for this performance, for all your performances. And who can be next? We have from the city of Bangkok, only Nietzsche. Nietzsche, would you like to speak now about the culture of your country and city?
Yes.
And please, process will be going from east to west.
Can you see that slide? Today I want to introduce everyone to Thai culture. So for the first one, this is the Thai mark stand drama, which is we call Khon. Khon performance is one of the most refined of the traditional dance, which is the combination of dance, costume, singing, speaking, and also music. Which is actually at first they only perform in the royal court, which is based on the story of Lamakian, the Thai version of the story of Lama, the Ramayana, the epic of India. This is the original story. So maybe you may wonder why Lamakian is very important to Thailand, because the first king of Jaki dynasty, when he ascended the throne, he took the title of Lama the First. So after that, every king in the Jaki dynasty take this title. So now the current king of Thailand, he known as King Lama the 10th. And in every temple of Thailand, mostly in the central temple, which is Wat Phakeo, there we have the painting of Lamakian in the surrounding wall of the temple, and also have the status of giant of Lamakian in the building. And this is the mark of Khon, which is very important because the characteristic of Khon will based on the marks, which is the individual character. We have different shape, different decoration, different color and facial expression. The creation of Khon marks require the skill craftsmanship, and the master will follow the convention record in the manuscript book, which is only passed on from generation to generation of Khon performance. And from this three picture, the marks of Tosakan, which is on the left side, which is the demon, and in the center is the mark of Lama, which is the king of human. So when we performing Khon, because the actor, they will put on the marks, so they unable to produce any sound because the mark they were on the stage. So the singer and narrator will sit with the orchestra, which is perform Thai song at the end of the stage, and they will speaking and singing, which is the major contribution of Khon performance, and control the whole show. The second one that I want to talk about is Muay Thai. Muay Thai is the martial art of Thai people. It's a close combat sport, which is use the entire body as a weapon. And usually we will use 8 points of body. The history of Muay Thai, which is we will go to the international stage during the World War II, when Thai soldiers served as a soldier overseas, and then they practice Muay Thai skill, and everyone watches and they love it, and they call Siamese boxing, which is now one of the most taught martial art in the world. The third one is fawn. Fawn Thai, or we call folk dance. It's the form of folk dance accompanied by folk music of each region, and they have different kind of fawn, which is, for example, fawn tian, or we call it candle dance. Usually, this one is the most popular one in the northeastern part of Thailand. They will consist of 8 dancers, which is they will dance in a pair, and they will wear full-length sarong and a jacket with a matching color, and also the female dancer will dance at night, which is pay homage to the god, and they hope that the god will offer the respect to Buddha, which is the bring good fortune. And this one is fawn lep, which is, you can see the special feature is the finger. We call the fingernail dance. It's also original from Chiang Mai, which is the northern part of Thailand, and the finger, which is 6 inches long. We can produce this finger by ourselves by the paper. And this one is the traditional shadow puppet, or we call nang yai, shadow play. Nang is mean leather in Thai, and its common use refer to the dance drama shadow puppet. Nang yai is mean the last one, the last shadow puppet, or we will also have the small one, which is called nang talung. The shadow puppets take place where the dancer will be behind the scene, and they will dancing and perform the dance. And this one is a shadow puppet that they produce, which is curved from buffalo hides and paint after the design complete. The last one is Hun Lakon Lek. This is also the puppet theater. Usually they will have a meter long, and it also have 2 meter. Each puppet will be under the 3 people, which is helping control and pulley system, which help the puppet look at they are dancing on the stage and look natural. And when the puppeteer perform the dance, everyone will forget that they have people behind the puppet. And also, I would like to show some video for you. Okay, that's all for my presentation.
Thank you very much. This was really exquisite. Have you ever seen one of the hats up close? How come they do not fall off? Good. Thank you, Nita, for your presentation. May I suggest that next we invite the representatives of Chengdu?
Yes, sure. Wait
And
a
if I'm
second,
not
please.
mistaken, this video can also be found on our playlist of the YouTube. Is it so, Nisha? Is it the one you sent before?
Yes.
Yes. That has sound.
Okay, I feel nervous now because I was just impressed by like different cultures from other countries. Like, very good. Okay, today we're gonna talk about something about Chengdu and its cultural peculiarities and why Chengdu can be home for other people across the world. And I'll be the first one to talk about the overview of Chengdu. Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province, also known as the land of abundance and the wonderland of recreation, is the only historical and cultural city in China with both name and location unchanged for over 2,000 years. It is located in the hinterland of Chengdu Plain, the west of Sichuan Basin. And the climate is subtropical monsoon humid climate with an average annual temperature of 16.5 to 17.9 Celsius degree. And it occupies 14,335 square kilometers. For the population, the registered population is 16.33 million, and the actual managed population is 21.2 million. And next, my partner will introduce the specific cultural peculiarities in Chengdu. So Jack, please.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
The first, I want to introduce you the national animal of China. It's called panda. I think all of you already see this animal before, and this animal is very cute, and it was chosen to be the symbol of the Worldwide Fund of Nature, the world's largest environmental organization that's dedicated to environmental protection. And maybe you want to ask why the WWF want to choose the panda to be the symbol, because it needs a logo to cross the barrier of culture and language. And panda is very cute and lovely and round in shape. So this animal is endangered animal. So this can be the best choice to represent the environment protection of the people. And the second picture is a panda called Chi. He was sent to Japan and to Japan Zoo to become an animal to represent China. Panda is not only an animal but also a symbol that represents the international communication. We send a lot of pandas to other countries so we can enhance our friendship in the future. Thank you.
Okay, Shiro, please.
I'm gonna introduce the tea culture for you guys. Someone says that if you want to get a taste of the old city, then a tea house would be enough. Tea house is a microcosm of Chengdu, while Chengdu is a big tea house. It can be described as a vital part of the city's trades. According to the data on newspaper, there were 599 tea houses with more than 120,000 tea drinkers. While Chengdu has a population of approximately 60,000 in 1935, which shows how indispensable tea is in their daily lives. Besides that, Tea house is a special feature of Chengdu. The tables and chairs are all made from bamboo, where tea drinkers can lay down or just sit on it. There are many services in the tea house as well, such as ear clearing, shoes polishing, and massage. To sum up, in Chengdu, tea is not only a drink favored by the masses, but also the way of their lives. Next speaker, please.
Oh, hello everyone. I want to introduce the Chinese dance. And Chinese dance is a general term for Chinese classical dance, Chinese national dance, folk dance, hand and tongue dance, and classical ballet. And it is also used to refer to the relevant dance discipline in China before subdivision. It was founded in the 1950s, but it originated from training combines, integrates the technologies and the skills of hand, eye, body, and the step of Chinese wushu, and traditional opera and the folk acrobatics. It has China's national characters. And turning over is a national skill of Chinese dance. And then next, I want to show you a video about Chinese dance. I hope you are all guys can understand better. Please. They just dance like flying. Okay, hope you guys like Chinese dance. And next one.
Sichuan opera is a shining pearl in the treasure house of Chinese opera. It has a long history and it's a major feature of Chengdu. In Sichuan opera, face changing and fire breathing are the two most representative skills. Face changing is used to reveal the inner and emotional changes of characters in the play. That is to change the invisible and imperceptible abstract emotions and psychological states into visible and tangible images. While bringing shock to the audience, fire breathing also shows the warm and forthright character of Chengdu people. But it should be noted that from ancient times to the present, this skill of breathing fire will never be done with special effects because Chengdu people like to live in reality. Okay, next please.
Yeah, Chengdu is now one of the most important economic, financial, commercial, culture, transportation, communication, and IT centers in Western China. Its economy is diverse, characterized by the machinery, automobile, medicine, food, and information technology industries. Chengdu has long been established as a national base for the electronics and IT industries. Chengdu's growth accelerated alongside the growth of the telecom server sector in India and China, which together account for over 17% of the world telecommunication market. Several key national electronic R&D institutes are located in Chengdu. The high-tech industrial development zone has attracted a variety of multinationals, at least 30 Fortune 500 companies and 12,000 domestic companies, including Intel, IBM, Siemens, HP, Microsoft, as well as domestic powerhouse such as Lenovo. Over the past few years, Chengdu's economy has flourished rapidly. In 2019, Chengdu overtook Shenzhen, China's technology hub, as the best performing Chinese economy. Next.
So I will introduce hot pot to you. Hot pot generally refers to the cooking methods of cooking all kinds of food with pot as utensils. Hot sauce cooking pot boiling with water or soup. It has many flavors and rich side dishes. In Chengdu, because we prefer to spicy foods, so we usually choose spicy pan soups and put many vegetables and meat into the hot and spicy soup. It is really delicious. Next page, please. And we sometimes choose to eat hot pot together when we have dinners with friends or family members. As you can see in this picture, during the Spring Festival, my family and I even made our own hot pot at home. Just imagine how happy it is to sit around with the hot pot with your friends and family members to enjoy the delicious and celebrate the festival. That's all. Thank you. I'll give the floor to Zhishen.
Yeah, so this is also a very, very short video of people when they're having the hot pots. So in Chengdu, there is a very beautiful metaphor saying that Chengdu is just like a hot pot, because for a hot pot, like it can be separated into different parts and you can put like different kinds of food, whatever food you want, into the hot pot. And then like after coming out, it will become a very delicious food. So it is the same analogy of Chengdu. Chengdu welcomes people from people from all over the world, no matter different backgrounds, like different genders or like whatever person that they want. So like Chengdu is a city famous for its inclusiveness. So if you get a chance to come to Chengdu, we can take you to different historical spots. And that's all for our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the team of Chengdu. It was truly great, and I had a dream that you would actually also show us the video of the Chinese dance after what you wrote about it on Instagram. And next, I suggest we give the floor, Mohammed, please, to you. Let us speak about Tehran, the capital of Iran.
Yes, hi everyone. Let me share my screen and have it here. So I hope all of you are well. My presentation is about Iran's culture. As you can see here, you can see here the main parts of the presentation at a glance. So I start with the first one, Iran is itself. Here are some information and highlights about Iran. Iranian are Persian, not Arab, and the main language of Iran is Persian or Farsi, both of them the same. And also Persian and Arabic are not like each other. These two languages even have different alphabets and have basics difference. And Iran is not 2021 now, but also 1401. And Iran and some other countries around it has Persian months. Weekend in Iran are Thursday and Fridays. All Iranian are not Muslim, but Iran has Islamic governments. These are different. Climate in Iran varies in geography due to the country's huge size, and religions in Iran are Shia Muslim, Sunni Muslim, Zoroastrian, Jewish, Christian, and Baha'i. Core concepts of Iranian cultures are intellect, politeness, achievement, technology, respect, theology, dignity, and humbleness. It's not customary for Iranians to have middle name. Instead, we have two first names. It is not for all, and you may see an Iranian that has one first name. Maybe Iranian have a first personal name, then an optional second personal name, and a surname. For example, my first personal name is Muhammad, my optional second personal name is Mahdi, and surname is Barati. So my first name is Muhammad Mahdi. Naming is patrilineal, with children taking their father's last name. However, women don't change their last name to their husband at marriage. Persian names are often based on inspiring characters of old Persian literature. Being a collectivist society, people in Iran show very strong loyalty to their families. The interests of the family can supersede the needs of a single individual. This loyalty also means that family honor and shame are shared between all family members. All people may gain the prestige of a family's success or bear the responsibility for a family's dishonor. This being said, most families seek to encourage individuals to be independent. Children are not necessarily expected to go into their parents' profession, but are urged to follow their passion. In Iran, the family is the basis of the social structure. The concept of family is more private than in many other cultures. Iranians take the responsibility to their family quite seriously. Families tend to be small with only 1 or 2 children nowadays, or some don't tend to marriage, but the extended family is quite close. Elderly relatives are kept at home, not placed in nursing home usually. And loyalty to the family and close friends come before other social relationships, even businesses. Nepotism is common in businesses. I mean, employing people one knows and trusts is of primary importance. Iranians are close to extended family members and have great respect for the elderly and are very hospitable, especially to foreigners. These traits remain highly visible part of Iranian etiquette. There are 3 common features of most Iranians: loving God, loving Iran, and loving family. And another highlight of Iran, that is the majority of students in universities, more than 65%, are females. And you can easily find Iranian that are able to speak English in the public places, and most of Iranian, specifically children and youngs, can talk English. Now I want to tell about some of Iranian celebrations. The first one and the most important was Nowruz, that is the New Year. On the right, you can see Haji Firuz, that Haji Firuz is not one specific person, but also a character that you can see a lot of Haji Firuzes in streets and public places around Nowruz. Haji Firuz is a cheerful character who sings and plays his tambourine in the streets, reveals the arrival of the new year, and feasts joyfulness. Nowruz has more than 3,000 years of history, and Nowruz starts on March 20 and takes long for 13 days. One of the main customs of the New Year celebration is the 7 sin table. A table includes 7 things, all of which begin with the letter S in Persian. Also, each of the items of this table has a mythical story in ancient Iran and symbolizes a lovely concept and brings us the newness of fresh life. You can see some of the tables that we prepare for Nowruz. The real significance of 7 was to represent the 7 eternal laws, which embodies the teaching of Zarathustra. It was a way of preserving and a reminder of the teaching of Zarathustra that he is an Iranian prophet. The second celebration is Kashan Rosewater Festival. This festival is pleasure to both the nose and the eyes. In this city, the fragrant pink Mohammadi rose blooms in great quantity, spreading to the region. To enjoy this festival of Iran, you can visit between May and June, when you can peek on their distilleries removing water from these delicate flowers. The other celebration is Charshanbe Suri, or Red Wednesday. We celebrate this day on the evening of the last Tuesday night of the year before Nowruz. On this cherished Almanic celebration, the sky glows at night with the fireworks and bonfires, set the streets blazing, and there is a great gathering of people enjoying and singing. And the other one is Sizdah Bedar, that is the 13th day of the Nowruz. Sizdah Bedar is Nature Day in solar calendar in Iran. In this day, all Iranians go to parks, and parks become crowded with families and friends playing games, grilling kebabs, and of course drinking tea and have fun all day. And another celebration is Yalda Night. Yalda Night is the longest night of the year and is renowned as a victory of light over darkness and of good over evil. In this night, we read about Persian heroes in the epic poems. At Yalda Night, we usually eat mixed nuts and red fruits, and the theme of the night is red. And another celebration is anniversary of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. That is the last day of 10-day celebration for Islamic Revolution in Iran. And another is Pahlavani and Zurkhane sport. That is an epic art indicating the Islamic, mythic, and ancient Iranian beliefs. Some consider Pahlavani and Zurkhane sport as a kind of dramatic sport like gymnastics. And this sport goes back to the ancient times. In 2010, Zurkhane sport inscribed on list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity in UNESCO. Now I wanna talk to you about Iranian food. There are a lot of Iranian foods in different styles, and surely you'll find the best taste of you. Iran have traditional food, Iranian rice dishes, Iranian street food snacks, Iranian breads, four-main breads that you can see on the right. That most of Iranian foods consist of rice or meat or both, and also a lot of different stews. Most of Iranians usually use 4 types of bread that they're for Iran, and other types of bread that you can see in other countries are less used. And in addition, Iran has itself desserts, soups, drinks, and vegetarian food. That here are some pictures of Iranian food snacks that you can see now. And here are Iran has local dances, songs, and foods. Iran has many ethnicities. Almost all have their own clothing, music, dance, accent, or dialect. That you can see some of their own clothing and dance in the picture. Thanks for your attention. I hope I can transfer useful information to you. And if you have any question or ambiguities, thank you for asking so that I can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, greatly. That was a pleasure to watch. It was a pleasure to see you as for such a long time. And mind you, that the previous presentation about what Tehran does for peace can now too be seen on the YouTube channel, because Mohammed has kindly recorded himself delivering it for us. So make sure to visit this channel when we send you the link.
Excuse me, can I ask Mr. Mohammed some question?
I think yes.
Of course, ask please.
Okay, I want to ask you about the Eid of Nowruz. If my information is correct, that is in 21 of March, right? Yes, Anna, your question is that's why I said 20 of March, yes? Yeah, because there's difference between Kurdish Nowruz and Iranian Nowruz? No. It's because that the last month of Persian calendar is 20 days, and 4 years, 4 years a while, it changed to 30 days. And this year it happened, and 1 day it's a shift 1 day. Shift 1 day, okay. Yes, 4 years, every 4 years it repeats. The last month changed 30 days. Because in Iraq we are celebrating in 21st of March, not in 20. Yeah, you're right. Thank you so much. Thanks for your question and attention.
Good. Thank you again also for this. And now I suggest we continue with the Russian cities. Moving northward, can we start with Volgograd, please?
Of course. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. Now I'd like to start from the celebration of one of the most important Russian holidays, that is called Maslenitsa. As I believe everybody knows, 1 second. As everybody knows, we have it celebrated on the 21st or the 22nd of March. It is based by the symbols of sun, blinks. You may have seen them right here. And also during this festival, you can see many other actions except eating and cooking blinks. These are special costumes, round dances, and of course burning the statue that symbolizes winter. Next speaker, please. Your sound is off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had some small speech with switch off my microphone, and I will speak about two holidays. One of them is a winter holiday, and another one is a summer holiday. So they are opposites. And we will start with the Christmastide, or Svyatki, is a winter holiday from Christmas Eve to the Epiphany, January 6th to 19th. Was associated with an extraordinary time when the line between the earth and the other world is weakening. It was believed that after the Christmas, the heaven gates swing open and the bored evil spirits go to the earth and walk among people. The second week of Christmastide is terrible evening. It was considered especially dangerous. The importance of Christmastide evenings was in fortune telling passed from generation to generation. And during Christmastide, Kaleda was held. It's an ancient pagan holiday accompanied by walking to houses with songs and congratulations. For the ancient Slavs, it was a holiday of the born sun, the birthday of the solar year. On the night of Koleda, people burned bonfires around which they danced. Young people dressed in new shirts walked to the hut where they danced and listened to fairy tales. And the next holiday, Kupala night, also called Ivana Kupala, is a traditional Slavic holiday that was originally celebrated on the shortest night of the year, which is on 21st to 22nd or 23rd to 24th of June. And in Eastern Slavic countries, according to traditional Julian calendar, on the night between 6th to 7th July, it's Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. Calendar-wise, it's opposite to the winter holiday Koleda that we have seen on the previous slides. And so the celebration relates to the summer solstice when nights are the shortest and includes a number of Slavic rituals. Many of rites related to this holiday are connected with the role of water in purification. This is due to the ancient Kupala rites. On Kupala Day, young people jump over the flames of bonfires in a ritual test of bravery and faith. The failure of a couple in love to complete the jump while holding hands is a sign of their destined separation. And girls may float wreaths of flower, often lit with candles, on rivers and attempt to gain foresight into their romantic relationship fortune from the flow patterns of the flowers on the river. And men may attempt to capture the wreaths in the hope of capturing the interest of the woman who floated it. Okay, that's it. And the next speaker, Lera, please.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Valeria and I show you another Russian traditions. So as you know, Russia is a big country and we have so many traditions because we are a multi-confessional country. So on the south of the country, here is the Republic of Kalmykia. So here is a place where you can see the piece of Asia. So Kalmyks celebrate Lunar New Year. It's called Zul. So we celebrate it at the start of December. So at this day, we celebrate the Zul holiday in new clothes. It can be something new or such as socks, trousers, t-shirts, like a skirt. So and at this day we have a traditional food. So it is tea. So it is a black tea with milk, salt, and butter. So and a bake. We have a bake. It's called bortsaki, and it can be different shapes. It can be round and be bird, sheep, camel, and other forms. So and main item. So we have the lamp. The lamp, it is a small vessel with a wick filled with oil and lit in front of the icons. So, and I want to say one fact about Kalmykia. It is we have a Buddhism religion. So on the screen you can see our Buddhism church. So and I know, as I know, it is the biggest, I think, Buddhist church in the Europe. So and what about the costumes? Sasha, can you show the costumes? Yes, thank you. So what about the costumes? We have for women, it is red dress or orange dress, and for a man it is like a black costume. So that's all. Thank you.
And now I'd like to continue with some other traditions of Russia. For example, it's the Russian shawl. and you can see it, that it is a work of art that has a very long history. This simple women's headgear became popular even in the 12th century, and still quite popular with Russian women. The next Russian thing I'd like to talk is the balalaika. It is a plucked string instrument, and it has 3 strings. Its name comes from Russian words balakat or balaborit. That means to talk. And the last thing is a samovar. It is a large metal vessel used to heat water for tea. There can be no tea ceremony without it in Russia. Unfortunately, Sergei Vovenko couldn't talk his part, so I think I'll be able to talk it. In Volgograd, as in any large city, there are many urban legends. Some of them tell about ghosts, which were probably seen in various old buildings and at the places of tragedies. Another part of the stories is associated with hidden treasures, such as the story of the treasures of Stepan Razin. The Volgograd metro tram is another visit card of the city. The first line was put into operation on the November 5th in 1984. In the middle of the 20th century, the transport problem in Volgograd became more and more serious. But according to the Soviet system, a real metro was built only in cities with a population of more than 1 million. At that time, only 800,000 people lived in Volgograd. The solution was the construction of an underground tram line, which combines the advantages of the metro and the cheapness of the tram. In Volgograd, there is the only line in Russia which has a section of almost 7 kilometers passing underground. The famous Forbes magazine has put the Volgograd high-speed tram in the list of unique tram routes in the world. Now you'll see a few videos that used to be one video about an excursion in the Volgograd. Here we go.
Welcome to the central district of Volgograd. This is the part of the hero city founded in 1589. It used to be called Soritsin, then Stalingrad, and now it is Volgograd. We are now at 0 kilometer sign, 0 mile. This is the point where all the roads of Volgograd start. We toss the coin for luck. We will go around and see the highlights of the central district and see how our heroic past, challenging present, and bright future are district and see how our heroic past, challenging present, and bright future are interconnected.
Here we are next to one of the symbols of the city, the monument to Alexander Nevsky, inaugurated in 2007. And here is the cathedral named after this patron saint of Volgograd. The church is now being constructed exactly on the site where it used to be located before being destroyed in 1932. It shouldn't be considered a replica of the old cathedral because it has been built according to its old design. Today, it is to become a newly made spiritual center being built with people's nation-centered duties. It faces the central square of the city, which holds the important city festivals and events.
As you turn right, you can see the first street that was reconstructed after the war. It is Mira or Peace Street. The sign here is that this name was given by the founders of the street. The street was officially opened on the 7th of November 1950. The bas-relief of Yuri Levitan can be seen on the wall of the Central Post Office. Levitan's voice was the voice of the war. Tears come to people's faces even today when they hear the famous announcement about the end of the Stalingrad battle.
Говорит Москва. Последний час. Наши войска полностью закончили ликвидацию немецко-фашистских войск, окруженных в районе Сталинграда.
The Stalingrad battle was a turning point in the Second World War, and a lot of glorious pages of the city history are connected to it. The Central Department store is closely associated with the victory in the Stalingrad battle. This is where Nazi General Paulus was taken prisoner. Today, the museum memory is a major tourist attraction, showing some important historic documents and photos connected with the victory in the Some important historic documents and photos connected with the victory in the Stalingrad battle. It is next to the well-known square of the Polish fighters with the monuments to the perished in the civil and Great Patriotic Wars. Another landmark of the Central District is the common tomb, the Alea of Heroes and the Eternal Flame. In 1965, it symbolizes eternal memory and gratitude to the defenders of the motherland and heroes of the city. Young boys and girls who stand on guard at post number 1 in tribute to the perished. Young boys and girls who stand on guard at post number 1 in tribute to the perished. As we overlook the heart of the city, we can see the Volga, the most renowned and loved river in Russia. It goes to the city of Volgograd and continues to be the most recognizable symbol. As the river flows, so life here keeps leading us to the new victories and further success.
Thank you for the attention.
Thank you for the presentation, even with the videos in the end. And last but not the least, can I suggest that St. Petersburg, if you'd like to take the floor, tell us something too. Well, ladies, gentlemen, are you ready for today?
Yes, we're ready.
Please.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
National dishes of Russia. Next slide, please. Russia is a huge international country with a central old history, culture, and traditional. Despite the fact that the majority of the population is Russia, more than 190 people live in the territory, and each of the people has its own characteristic, including the national dishes. It's about the national dishes of the people of Russia that I want to tell you today. Next slide, please. The majority of the population of the Russian Federation in Russia. Therefore, we will start with the inspiration of the cuisine, traditional dishes of Russian cuisine prepared from familiar and well-known product in Russia. The basis of the Russian cuisine in a variety of porridges, pies, dishes of meat, game, fish, and mushrooms. As new products have penetrated into the territory of Russia, traditional dishes have acquired new ingredients, without which it is no difficult to imagine classic Russian dishes. Such guesses, for example, were potatoes, tomatoes, and Turini, available seasoning, spice, and olive oil from other countries are increasingly becoming part of modern cuisine. Next slide, please. In our kitchen, there are a large number of different pickles. As before in our time, many housewives prepare pickles for the winter, which help to preserve all the vitamins contained in vegetable and fruit, as well as diversify and improve in the usual dishes. Example, pickles cucumber. Next slide, please. There are also sweet preparation jams, fruits or berries cooked with the addition of sugar. The resulting delicious is used as a filling for pies, and pies are eaten with tea, which is also very popular in Russia. Russian is one of the 10 countries in terms of the tea consumption. Next slide, please.
By the way, it is impossible to imagine Russian cuisine without soups. We have a lot of them in our cuisine. There are as well as hot and cold soups presented. The most popular and well-known soup is borscht. However, it is not clear whether its origin Russian or is it more like Eastern Europe. Besides it, we also have pickle soup, also known as rasolnik in Russia, uha, or fish broth soup, solyanka, in Russia, also presented in Russian cuisine. They all belong to hot soups. The cold ones include okroshka, beetroot, холодильник, with cereals, and cold version of borscht. They're usually eaten in hot weather. Pickle soup is classic rich Russian soup with addition of pickles. Uha's main ingredient is fish and couple of vegetables, like potatoes, carrots, and sometimes cucumbers. And okroshka is a cold soup on kefir or kvass. It is also quite interesting, joking civil war in Russia about whether it is acceptable to eat okroshka on kvass or on kefir. The main ingredient in okroshka is cucumbers, eggs, and I suppose some forms of meat. Each of these dishes, of course, has its own history. One of the most interesting is the story of solyanka. The origin of the soup is covered with a deep mystery, because historians are still not sure about its origin. One of the versions is that dish had the original name solyanka and was a peasant food. We prepared it on holidays. Each resident of the village brought something from himself: meat, fish, vegetables, etc. And the dish was prepared from this. Thus, a lot of recipes for solyanka have come down to our time. Also in Russia, solyanka can also be presented as some form of proverb, meaning some dish or something containing of unimaginable parts and incompatible parts. In Russian cuisine, there are a large number of pies, product made of dough filling, which are baked or fried. They are prepared with different fillings. Cheesecake, not cheesecake you probably thought about. It's down below, round pies with fillings on them. They're open top and plucked only from the edges of cake with filler. As a rule, cottage cheese is used as a filler, less often jam, condensed milk, or jam. Kulebaka is a pie with complex filling of meat, fish, and mushrooms, berries, or cabbage. Different fillings are applied in layers and divided between pancakes. The kulebak was necessarily closed, otherwise the complex filling could dry out. A pie is a product made of yeast of puff pastry with various fillings. Rastigai is an open pie made of unsavory yeast dough with various fillings. Shangaround open pie is the name of special kind of cakes made of yeast pie rye wheat, and the dough with various filling spreads. Wicked, small open pies with various fillings made of rye, unleavened dough with various fillings, liqueurs, spreads or baked goods. Kurnik is a pie with chicken and porridge or potatoes, also called wedding cake or royal. Nakrepok is a pie with cranberry porridge and salted red fish on top. Sochnik, sochin, is a closed pie with cottage cheese.
It is impossible to imagine Russian cuisine without pelmeni and vareniki. Pelmeni are made with a filling of meat fish, and vareniki can be made with potatoes, cabbage, fish, and mushrooms. And there are also sweet dumplings, and they are prepared with a filling of berries, jam, cottage cheese, and fruits, and they are eaten as a dessert. Next slide, please. Kvass is considered to be a traditional Russian drink. This is a drink made on the basis of rye bread by fermentation, and it is very popular in our time. Both adults and children drink kvass, and it contains a small degree of alcohol. Next slide, please. Now we will tell you about the most popular dish in Russia. It is borscht, dumplings, fried potatoes, cutlet with mashed potatoes, okroshka, pasta in the navy, pies, harina under a farquart, jelly, and pancakes. Next slide, please. Despite the variety of Russian cuisine, dishes from other countries are also very popular in our country. Very popular dishes are Georgian, Korean, Japanese, and others. Next slide, please.
Thanks for attention.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation, which was a cruel thing to do because now I'm hungry as I don't know why. Also, I'd like to make a comment that pasta in the Navy is, I think, carbonara, which is pasta and minced meat, but with little to no sauce. That's it. Thank you, St. Petersburg. I like how clever you resolve this issue with two cities representing one country. There is not a single slide that replicates the one by Volgograd team. Thank you. Excellent work. And now, minor adjustment. Since Hiroshima city was the first to deliver the presentation and did not realize that videos were possible, can you please give them some time to show the beautiful video that they made specifically for this conference? I hope you don't mind. Rina, please turn it on.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. Can you hear my voice? Okay.
Yes.
I want to share about a video about Japanese student life. Can you see it?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, please check it. Thank you for watching. That's it.
Thank you for the time and the amount of work used to make this video. Thank you so much for sharing it. Well, now, guys, I believe that Christian is not with us today, which means that all our cities have been introduced. And now, as usually, it would be time for discussion sessions. And here's when I would like to ask your advice. To tell you the truth, today's program lasted a bit longer than I expected, which I, frankly speaking, do not regret in the slightest. This was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. So our discussion questions, our discussion questions for today were this. Because at home, you'll be working in teams to decide what flash mob you would like to do after the conference. Each team will speak about it on the closing ceremony, and you'll be working on the communique. So since I believe these questions will be more or less included in the communique, I suggest that when we give you now some time for team discussion, would you like to use it to decide how this work on drafting the final document will be organized in your teams? After all, your leaders will be sending text to me, you'll be sending text to your leaders, which is a difficult process. So I suggest that you use these minutes of discussion in the way that you in your teams deem best, either to talk about organizational matters or to speak your mind on the two questions, because and this and that will help you to make this communique and your flash mob. So you're now in for the discussion. I guess we'll still have 20 minutes for today and then go to sleep, to rest, do our things. Welcome back to our common room. Thank you for staying with us today for the longest discussion session and the Zoom meeting in the history of this year's conference. And now I suggest that each team uses the remaining time to briefly sum up their discussions, because not briefly, you'll sum them up in the community at home. Catalyst for Peace, please.
Hello. Is my voice going through?
Yes.
Thank you. My internet connection is not very good today, so I apologize if I don't sound very clear. In answer to the first question of what have you learned during this conference, we've obviously learned about each of the sister cities and the whole world in general, about its problems as well. And we learned how to value and give importance to the past, and that there's no need to fight. But also, we've also learned something really important, and that's the skill of communication. At the first part of this conference, we were shy of making mistakes. We weren't really a team yet, and we weren't really moving smoothly. Our communication wasn't going very well. But as we went on, we gained more confidence in speaking to each other with other nationalities. And yes, I think we've changed that. We've gotten a better skill of communication. For the next question, can I ask Jenny to answer?
Oh yes. For question number 2, is there anything we see differently now? Like what my other team member said, that this conference helped us to see in the worldwide view or universal view. We learn to see things differently on different perspective or point of view. It opened our awareness to see things differently in a way that we became more aware on the different happenings in the world. There are a lot of world problems that threatens our peace, and it opens our mind with this. These problems could be environmentally, economically, politically, and such, that because of these world problems, fighting for peace is an everyday battle. We fight for peace every day because there are a lot of things that threatens it. And it also helps us realize the essence of our voice and our actions to create peace and to move for peace. That's all for this.
Sage, thank you very much, Catalyst for Peace. Can we move on? Then I invite the next team, Piece of Peace, for their contribution.
Yes. And so about the first question that what we have learned during the conference, we learned about the other cultures, and specifically history of Volgograd, Stalingrad, and World War II in Russia. From the experts, we learned some points about ecology, about another Russian experts, and we learned that peace can join us even from far distances. And we can be unity despite the different cultures. And about the second question, that is there anything we see differently now? We can do the things in our city, in our life, from what we learned here, and we use them. And we became wiser in group discussions. And now we're able to thinking globally better. Thank you. Next, please.
Okay, our third question, what can youth do for peace? So maybe youth is us. So we have 2 points. First is we can participate activity like volunteer or school event relating to the peace. So that's we can participate after this conference, and we can learn more about peace. And the second is to tell about what we learned. So we can tell about peace and tell about this conference to the other people, such as your friend and the other country, like any people who know. and maybe our children, we have to tell them about peace. And that is our conclusion for the third question. And lastly, we discussed about a little bit flash mob, and we discussed about take some pictures with paper crane, maybe the with historical place. For me, maybe I can take picture with atomic bomb dome, and like maybe background is atomic bomb dome, and we can write something like IYCPF to the paper crane, so that maybe people can people notice we're connected if we make the video and posting. So that will be the good flash mob. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you. I absolutely agree to make a good flash mob. You have still a day about and a half to continue discussing it, and the results will be on August 15. Now, please, team 3, great mates.
Sorry, yes. About the first question, what we learned from this conference, we can say that we shared our information on our cultures and our history of different countries between us, and we can learn that is from our mistakes, and we learned that the wars and what did for our countries, and we can take from this conference the positive things, and to provide making the negative things in the future in our places, making these mistakes in the future times. So we in the result we can have how to say a peaceful future. Thank you. And the second question, let Anne can answer it.
For the second question, we've seen differences since this conference lasts up until into this day, because before we were too shy and not talkative with each other. We don't fully share our perceptions regarding the answers to the activity questions, but now we are more open with each other. We're getting more comfortable, and we often share our daily activities, and we never thought that we could a good camaraderie along with other countries. We realized that even though we have different languages and different alphabets, this will never be a hindrance to befriend other nationalities who speak and stand for peace. And in addition, our eyes are more open regarding the current issues roaming around, may it be in my city or yours. And this conference made us all aware of that.
For the third question, what can we do for peace? We can liven awareness of peace by providing information on social media. And we also can do activity like participating in peace conference or doing peace-related project like we all do on the social media, and so that we can make friends with each other. And we also do volunteer work like teaching children in our community about peace by using activity like folding paper crane or painting for exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you, great mates. Thank you for the new idea that you are giving us as well. Now, team peace and friendship, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. For the first question, what have we learned during this conference? Most of us said that cultures and traditions, we have learned a lot from the city, each city's cultures and traditions, and from the different points of views of others. And we have also discovered new ideas from them. We also felt really close to other cities, even though we are in an online class, online conference, we felt that we are really get along with each other and shared each other's opinions about certain topics about peace. And I believe that everyone brings something unique to the table, and there's a lot we can gain from that. And joining this conference gave us an opportunity to learn from experts, the IYCPF organizers and delegates, and the youth who aims to build a more sustainable and a peaceful society. And for the next question, Pauline, can you answer the next question?
For the next question, if we've seen anything differently, yep, we totally did. We've learned a lot of differences about each other's countries, which I think was very unique. Like what Gian has said, everyone has brought something unique to the table, and that difference helped us understand further about each other's cultures, which I think even though we are in different parts of the world, this still helps us understand each other further to make sure we are cooperating as one and we meet our middle ground in fighting or working for a long-lasting peace in the world. That's all. Thank you.
For the third question, I think the youth can participate in conferences for peace like what we are doing now. So the youth can also practice to treat all people with kindness and respect regardless of race, sexual identity, religion, and others. That's all.
That's very important. So thank you. It cannot stop amazing me how each time more and more people find the courage, the power, and the will to speak in each team. Thank you for this greatly. And Team PS Education Movers, please, your time.
Well, I'll summary or answer for the first question. And well, we learned a lot about peace, but not only about peace, but also about education and ecology and so on. And also it was first time for us to learn other countries' cultures and histories. So it was very good experience for me. And also we could understand diversity because all of us had different cultures and background. So yeah, we could learn diversity. And can Elena summary for our answer for the second questions?
Hello. The second question is there anything we see differently now? I can say that earlier I thought that one person just can't do something for peace, but now after our conferences, I understand that the first step and one of the most important steps to create peace is the step of every person. And if I want to do something to make our lives better, I should start from myself. So now I see the concept of peace differently.
And the number 3 is, what can you do for peace? So in these hard times that we are all experiencing, a really hard situation of the pandemic, the one thing that my group talks about that is really simple but have a lot of impact is that giving a positive aura or a positive mind to other people, giving a smile, because it is really a simple thing. It's really an action that we really can't notice, but it is really one thing that promotes peace, that have a big contribution, because if you smile to other people, if you contribute positiveness, we could be able to communicate, we could be able to promote peace. Alex?
And I'd like to end on my group's something that was said by my group with my group's motto. It is we educate, we communicate, we engage for peace. And I guess it would be the shortest way to say what we can do for peace by ourselves.
And now the generation that experienced war is decreasing, so we can pass the history of war on to people around the world and to the next generation to remember and to not replay. Telling the tragedy, discuss peace, and sharing it, I think it will lead to more people taking action for peace. That's all.
Thank you.
And sorry, there's a flash mob. Okay, about the flash mob. So we plan to have a video. So it's a video presentation that we plan for our group. It's just a short video presentation that we really want to do, and that we know that promote peace, especially this kind of conference. So just wait for it in our page. Thank you.
Thank you. We will be. Thank you very much, dear teams, for your excellent work today, for being with us during all this conference. Now your only homework will be to complete, continue, and finish discussing your flash mobs, and also to think of the text of your message, of your peace communique. Earlier, I sent you the example, but I think I will send them to you once more. And then please choose whether your leaders will send me the separate paragraphs by email or whether you'd like to present it all together during our concluding session, which will be held this Sunday. So this Sunday we'll meet for the last time. It will be my pleasure to see all of you again. Thank you for today's work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
See you
day.
soon. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
See ya.